push down towards the south side to make this happen. All right, though, it's going straight for it. Xavier once again playing on as two players and making it work somehow. Again, I think that although they are doing okay in the points, and now they're in top 7, this sort of needs to stop. Right, the Xavier duo is something that is becoming increasingly more consistent and increasingly more effective, and I don't know why. I would much rather this team played on as 4, but yeah, it's such an odd one where the most times where we see Xavier doing well is when 2 of their other players are dead. It makes no sense, yet it is working.
Regnum Kaya just love this river split style. We've seen it from a lot in the regionals. And they are trying to enact it here. I mean, it's why Loxy was across the river in the first place to get taken down by Thundertalk. But it seems like they're a little bit more entrenched now with Wild playing there. They've got Kara trying to put nades across the river, but just a bit out of range. Fortunately, they find that knock, and that could be a huge opportunity for all the teams around to make a move, including DRX.
Alpha 7 just trying to go for the swim. I think they had little options available to them, but the duo in Xavier have spotted them out. Levi's and Paragon not likely to let this cross go unharmed. As Korea will get knocked. Alpha Gaming made a
little bit
long
better of a time.
fling over towards the eastern side. Sorry.
Yeah, it's been a difficult approach, but somehow Doc making that mad dash across the open Yaz fields.
So, a bit of a self-nade, but it gets the job
That's
done.
not great.
It does get the job. It does take down Lemon, right? Bit of collateral damage on his side. Not sure how he took 99% and Lemon took 100.
That happens, you know. Looks like he's pretty bare on the meds, though. Otherwise, you'd imagine his health bar would be a lot fuller than it is. That's the nade that'll do it. Final nail in the coffin on the south edge, and that res should be coming on through for the Mad Bulls. Thundertalk are out, so our table toppers going to be taking another break. This is an opportunity. This is a big opportunity for the Mad Bulls to put a lot of distance in and see what they can find. Regnum Kaya, in the meantime, they have been busted down to 1. Their east side shore outhold was dismantled by Kara, by a couple of other teams as well, but Kara have now fallen as well. So Wild may be a little bit more unknown here.
DRX, QXZ, still playing underneath. Regnum Kaya were picked to pieces. Only Wild left remaining, as per usual, as is customary. Alpha Gaming still playing as 4, but it's a rough approach for them.
Ooh, he doesn't have too many meds. Look at that. Only the 2 first aids. Doesn't want to overexpend himself. And needed to try and get a re-knock there. Levi's actually chiming in, but a nade bobbles its way over. DRX have to cross, and the blue zone's putting too much pressure on to make this one realistic here. I just don't think they're getting out of it. With Grisao as well on the far side. The nades coming through from the Xavier duo. Oh, it's dastardly. It's mischievous coming through from Paragon and Levi's. They are doing a lot of work for Xavier on this west side. They're up to 5 elims.
I know, it's paradoxical, but it works. This is what's happening for Xavier right now. I don't really understand it. I mean, the fact that they're in top 7 is wild to me. But as Pro go down to just 1 player as the arena takes some very big shots towards them, and with Aragon down towards the south side, very unlikely VP gets back up into the picture. Whoa. Good step up from DRX, jumping into the boat from Kaixei to get a separate different angle. More shots from Xavier trying to weaken them as much as possible, soften them up for this initial nade that's going to come over the top here.
Xavier not really going to have sightlines on them for too much longer. The nades need to be on target now, because stepping up and over, you're going to have Ulf starting to take shots at you. APG maybe even from a distance. But DRX may have just done the impossible. Getting across this river seemed like it was just not going to happen. But here we are, in a position to see it maybe coming on through. The Wolves surviving with a solo, by the way, on that south edge. So maybe that's where DRX go next.
Yeah, I mean, Doran's doing quite well for it. Alpha Gaming got torn apart. I mean, that position they took is not terrible, honestly, and I think Mad Bulls wanted it, but the speed at which they were plucked out of this game was quite astonishing from the Mad Bulls, who finally are having a bit of a resurgence today. It's been slightly less impressive towards the start of the day. Some points here and there, but nothing crazy. But from that spot, you have a lot of control over the rest of the lobby. You're mainly just worried about Aragon and E-Arena, but you control these roadsides very well. And as long as that's possible, you have a great game in your hands. They still have to hope for a southeast shift on this one. And then it's very likely to be a Mad Bulls win.
Certainly would seem that way. Let's see where the circle goes. It goes pretty central, Blank, which gives Mad Bulls, again, probably one of the better positions. They could still play on those roadsides. They could still play on those ridges out towards the fields, the cover that they've already established. And the teams over towards the west side, I mean, it's a question of who gets the chance to try and move out towards where Ulf are playing.
Xavier forced to drop down as many smokes as possible to make this push work, but DRX very healthy now, and the nades start to bear fin. This is a crazy push from QXZ, looking for a little more. Hyunbin around the side. Paragin's already down. Levi has a monumental task ahead of him.
They gave him too much trouble on the river crossing, and now they want their revenge. Kaikse moves on in, but is going to be taken down from the backline. QXZ able to get the final blow there. Arena from the rooftops, making it a little bit tricky, but that res definitely will be possible. The smoke just about to fade there. And they'll get Hyunbin back up. Kaikse moves in, stopping Arena, or trying to anyway, on that angle. Drops down. DRX have to make another move now. Their zone still not in their favor. They've been through it now, and DRX definitely tested their mettle. And so far, it's looking pretty shiny.
It is. I mean, they have just been in the forge all day, slamming away on the Smith, because this has been a very, very different DRX to what we previously saw earlier. I've been quite impressed with what I've been looking at so far from DRX in these last couple of games. I mean, it was a bit of a weaker start on that chicken dinner, but then they stepped up from there. And I mean, it's always nice to see an interview come through and them stick to the guns from what their plan was, which was to get a little bit more aggressive, understand the lobby a little bit better, and they certainly have done that here. Shots going through over towards Mormon, but this kind of cover is very difficult to deal with, and DRX will need to use smoke to slowly work their way down on this cliff, because eventually this fight between E-Arena and DRX has to conclude.
I mean, the fact that Doran's still alive as well for Wolves is pretty crazy, especially given the compound he was sat in seemed to be prime real estate. Nobody really had the gumption, though, to go for it. He's been allowed to live for a little bit longer, despite obviously not having that many meds to his name.